Okay, I have to make this video. I have solved the golf swing by creating a new model from literally from nothing. Uh, I've solved the golf swing, and it took me like 10, it took me like, I think it's been over a decade now. But like when I first started trying to solve it, like I knew that this new model that I made was absolutely true. There's just no disputing it. So then what I did is I tried to fit the swing into this model, like all of the angles, all of the movements, like all forces. There's so many different angles and everything, and there couldn't be any contradictions. And then you have like different shots that you can hit. You have different golf swings. So there can't be any contradictions between anything else. So there's like hundreds of factors. It's kind of like a lottery with like hundreds of digits. It's like a code. Like, I can't believe that like I was able to crack this code, but the way that I was able to crack this code is to create a new model literally from nothing. And I just stuck it out. I said, no, I know that this is true. And then what I did is I figured out other things that were true when I was trying to fit things into this model. And then what I would do is I would say, well, this is true and this is true, so this must be true. You know? So like I would use known truths and I would create like another truth, and I made sure there wasn't any contradictions, and then I would establish new truths. And then, you know, over time, the way that I did this is I would eliminate, through contradictions, what it was not. And then there's like this paradox: the more that you figure out what it isn't, it frees you to think of something from nothing that it could be. But this is what's weird about it, is when as you eliminate more and more and more, in a way it becomes easier to figure out what it is from nothing, but at the same time it becomes harder because now you have to think of something from nothing. Yeah, you've eliminated a lot of things, but then it forces you to have to think of something from nothing. Yeah, that's the hard part, and there's so many factors. And like when I went back and looked at it, I came to the realization that I'm literally the only one in the world, and probably even into the future, that would create this new model that would solve the swing, because there's all these factors that, I started realizing. I'm like, I wonder if anybody else is working on this, and I thought, no, because there's all these factors that are required. For example, one of them is like you have to have one of the most efficient swings per pound of body weight, and I have that. So I can use my own feelings, like what it feels like to solve, this model. For example, like there's one day or one week I was hitting the ball like really, really far. I was just playing with my irons, and I started hitting my irons like really, really far, because like I had to get to the par fours and par fives and two with just irons. And I started getting better at hitting the ball like really, really efficient and really far. And I was hitting my 3-iron like 250, 270. I was starting to hit it really far. So I brought my high-speed camera to the golf course, and I had somebody video me at a 45-degree angle from behind. And I thought, man, I'm gonna have to swing really hard so I get a good swing on video. My goal was to hit it maybe like 270, 285, or like 280 or something like that, like 270, 275. I'd be happy with that, or even like 250, whatever. For a 3 iron, it's really, really far. But I swung as hard as I could, and it went 296 yards on flat ground with a laser rangefinder. I went and had my golf bag. I walked down to the ball. I put my golf bag down there because it went so far, and I went back to where I hit from, and it was 296 to the golf bag. So that shows you how efficient the swing is. So like, I was able to use my own efficient swing feelings. I knew what it felt like, so I was able to figure out the swing from what it felt like. That's like one of the factors. And then like another factor is like my background in odd sciences. Like, I'm interested in like things that are like dead sciences that most people in the world like don't even use. They don't even like use it, but I was like interested in it. It's kind of like Latin. Latin's like a dead language. Nobody uses it, and there's some sciences that there's no real use in the real world for it. So like, it's not used, but like these things that I know about like helped me solve the swing. And philosophy did. It's like philosophy, it lets you open your mind in different ways. So like, philosophy helped me. So like, there's all these different factors, like even history, because then I was able to go back through the history of golf, the history of thought of how the golf swing works. Like, for example, like Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, all of them, they were using old ball flight laws that now today we know are false, but yet they were able to hit the ball really precisely where they wanted it, and they were able to draw it and fade it with incorrect thoughts in their head. So what that tells me is that their thoughts, since they didn't line up with reality, they weren't really using their thought to hit the ball straight. They were using their what it felt like to hit it straight, or the repetition of hitting so many golf balls. They knew what it felt like to hit it straight, or hit a draw, or hit a fade. It wasn't their thoughts. Their thoughts didn't line up with the reality of what was taking place. So I would say that they were feel players. But with my new model, what I've solved is that, like with this new model, I found missing dimensions that the entire golf world doesn't realize even exists. And it's only through my model that you could see these new dimensions. I'll just call them dimensions. But it's these new dimensions that they're unable to see, and you can only see it with my model that I created. And my model could be anything, So yeah, I'm not going to reveal what my model is because I know how much it's worth and stuff. But like, if I got on the Golf Channel, or I told some like tour pros, like the tour pros would have to be like open-minded, because a lot of them, they're following what is popular, and popularity is not necessarily the truth. Truth is truth. So what's happening today is the entire golf world, they're all using the same ideas, but they're teaching the same stuff, the same base knowledge or base premises, but they have different ways of explaining the same base premises. But the base premises that everybody's using are incorrect. And then there's missing pieces, and what makes it even worse is there's missing pieces that they don't realize exist, because you can't realize that they exist unless you have the new model. So, like, that's what's taking place. Is I've got this new model, and I know of these dimensions. What it does is, like, I know that this is a putter, but all golf clubs, like loft and everything, like, I see a golf club completely different because of the new model than, like, anybody sees it. It'll have to be re-explained. Like, a golf club will have to be re-explained, and the golf club manufacturers, when they see this new model, they're going to have to make golf clubs different. Like, they'll say, oh man, they're going to have to make different computer models. And then with the different computer models, I think what it's going to do is it's going to go backwards. Like, shafts are going to be redesigned. Everything's going to be more precise. One thing that's going to happen is, I'm already predicting it, since I broke the swing down and made it more complex. Like, when you break something down, it becomes more precise and there's more factors involved. But the more that you break something down, or anything down, into all the little base digits, the more complex it is. But you have the ability to simplify it, so it becomes more complex. But with this complexity, you have the ability to simplify it to even a further simplification. But what's funny is, like, once it's simplified, the persons that you explain it to, they'll say, oh, that's simple. And they won't appreciate the complexity of you or me having to figure it out, having to create this model and, figure out the code and crack this code. They're just not gonna appreciate it. Like, that's the thing that I'm running into. I know that this is going to happen. They'll say, oh, well, that's so simple. Anybody could have thought of that. But, like, they didn't. Like, nobody's thought of my new model. Like, no one's gonna think of this model. So, because they don't know what it is. It's all up here right now. But I know that if, like, I got on a Golf Channel or something, people would start listening to what I say on the Golf Channel, and, like, they would just, there'd be, like, a high demand. They'd be like, man, I never heard this before. Like, he's not teaching anything that has ever been taught before, but what he's saying makes so much sense, and it's so simple. That's what they'll say. They'll be like, yeah, this is so simple. He just told me these few things, and, like, I'm hitting it better, just with these simple ideas that he has, and the reason I'm able to simplify it is, one, I'm dealing in reality, because my model, I based it off of reality. I knew that it had to be real. It had to factor in all the real, actual movements of the body. Like, for example, like, your wrist can only turn this far and this far, so it eliminates all of this. Like, your thumb can go from here to there, but it can't, like, go, here, and this can't go here. So it eliminates this. Your upper arm, it can't go over here, but it can go this way. So it eliminates this over here. There's certain things that you could eliminate, angles and stuff. Is what I was talking about before. You have things that you eliminate, and then you figure out what it is by what it isn't. So like I would add angles up and stuff. I'd fit it in my model. Then I'd make sure that well, what happens if I hit a low shot or a high shot? Because a low shot, you can't have the same swing hitting a low shot as you do a high shot because it's a contradiction. They're different from one another. So then you have to have one swing for one and a slightly different golf swing for the other. To hit a draw, you would have to have a slightly different swing than if you hit a fade or a cut shot or whatever. And then you have high draw, mid draw, low draw, high fade, mid fade, low fade, the different trajectories. So there's all these factors and there's all these body angles, and I'm telling you, it's super complex what I did. It was really hard to fit everything into this new model, but I just hope people appreciate how much hard work that I put into this. I put in a lot of hard work, and I know a lot of people, what they're going to do is they're going to be like, yeah, this guy says he solved the swing, blah, blah, blah. Everybody solved the swing. You can have these people like that, but then I think what's going to happen is there's going to be people who are loyal. They're going to be open-minded. They're going to listen. They're going to go and do it. Some of the stuff, that I say, and they're going to improve. And they're just going to say, wow, I just gained 30 yards. Or there's other people that gain 50 yards off of their shots, And yeah, it's all there because it's dealing in reality. I made sure that everything that was in my model deals in reality. So in order to deliberately hit a shot, you deliberately have to follow angles and forces and stuff like that. When you have a full understanding of it, you're going to be able to deliberately hit shots that you want, or create speed. You'll know what creates speed. It really breaks the swing down. I guess one good thing about it is that I could probably make courses where there's a basic, and then a little bit more, a course that has more of the complexity in it, and then, another course that gets into, smaller, finer details, and just let it go on and on. I can make multiple courses because it's really complex, but at the same time, it's this weird paradox where it simplifies it because you're dealing in reality. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's just it's so frustrating knowing that I have the secret to the golf swing, and I'm just stuck up on top of a mountain. I'm stuck up on top of a mountain, where I don't make, I don't make no income from this yet, but yet I know how lucrative it is and how much time and effort that I put into it. I know that I've watched Tiger Woods and I've seen him go from teacher to teacher, and I'm guessing he was going from teacher to teacher because he was searching for somebody who knew the swing. I think everybody's in search of the truth. Everybody's in search of the truth, and I think what happens in golf is like as people search, they get more and more frustrated because they come to the realization after a while that like nobody really knows what they're talking about, and that's where I went, so then that's what inspired me to create like this brand new model from nothing. And I knew that it was true from the start, and then I just kept plugging away, and lo and behold, after over more than like 10 years of plugging away, I didn't give up. There's times where I just, like, there's one entire year where I couldn't think of anything new from nothing. Like I exhausted all my thought, and I was just like, man, I give up because I'm to the point where I can't figure out like how to fit everything into the model to where there isn't any contradictions. And just like I prayed, I was like, God, please help. I really need help at this point. I don't want to put all this effort, like you gave it to me. I put all this effort into it. Please don't let it go to waste, because I know that the base model's true, and I didn't give up. I didn't give up, and I kept plugging away, and then just out of nowhere, something from absolutely nothing, it come in to my thoughts, and then I was able to fit it into the model, and I came to the realization that like these are the real actual angles. Like over a decade ago, I never would have thought that like I would have been able to do this, or like anybody would be able to do this really, to actually understand like all this stuff that's taking place. Like there's things in the golf swing that I think of because of this model that literally nobody thinks of. But yeah, I know that it's going to completely change the entire world of golf because it'll make golf easier for people. So then you'll have more better golfers, and because you have more better golfers, they're going to want to golf more because it will be more enjoyable. They'll feel good about themselves. They'll go home, and then they'll treat the people around them better because they feel better about themselves. They'll invite friends and things like that, and they'll say, oh, it's fun, here, you just do this or whatever. You'll have better golf teachers to teach, more people, and I really think like golf will become more popular. The golf club manufacturers, when they start figuring this stuff out, they will make golf clubs better. They'll be able to make them more precise because like you have this model that they're using, and then the physics from it, they'll use it to make golf clubs, and they'll say, oh yeah, this is what's happening in the swing, and this is what's happening with the club, and they'll have a different understanding of the golf club, and they'll make better equipment, which in turns will make people play better golf. The two will go hand in hand. Shaft manufacturers, they'll start figuring out how to make shafts more precise. There's going to be all this stuff that starts taking place. I think golf will become more popular. And yeah, it's like I really think I'm going to change golf forever. Yeah, like I'll be really popular in golf. Like tour pros, like they'll probably be a high demand at one point. Like for me, to be teaching them. Like I can't believe it. It's kind of weird. Because like I had to create this from nothing. There's like all these doubts over the years that crept in my mind. But I know that it's true, and what I would do is I would go out and figure stuff out, and then I would go and try it on the golf course to see if it would work, and like a lot of times, like for the, for year after year after year, my ideas were close, but in golf everything has to be exact or it's no good at all. There has to be zero contradictions between different players' golf swings. There's all these different golf swings out there, so there has to be no contradiction between the model and all these multiple golf swings that are out there. It has to explain everything. And then it has to explain all the golf shots. It has to explain all the different lie angles. You have to be able to hit off of your knees. Like you should be able to put a golf ball up here and swing, and it should explain, what the physics of, everything. It should explain everything, all the body angles. Like it was so difficult, but because of the model that I created, I was able to break the swing down because I was basing everything off of truths. And then from the truth of the model, I was able to break the whole swing down slowly. It was extremely complicated. But I hope people appreciate like what I've done. And I guess that's my video for now, but I really think that I'm going to completely change the golf world. I'm not sure who to explain this to. I'm not sure who to explain all this to or who would be interested in it. But yeah, that's my video for now. Thanks for watching, and I know that this is going to really change the golf world. I'll make some more videos, but that's my video for now.